Hi, my name is Minguez, and today I'll be presenting on chemicals in cigarette smoke and health. Cigarette smoking is responsible for more than 480,000 deaths per year in the United States alone. This is not accounting for the 41,000 deaths that come from secondhand smoke exposure. Secondhand smoke is basically being exposed to someone that actively smokes cigarettes and being affected by it. 41,000 deaths coming from this secondhand smoke. To give you a little background on this topic, cigarettes, cigars, and pipe tobacco are popular means of smoking around the world. Tobacco being composed of over 7,000 chemicals, and only 70 are known carcinogens or chemicals that are directly linked to the cause of cancer. If not cancer, these chemicals are also causing heart disease, lung disease, and other serious health problems. Tobacco smoke also has traces of radioactive chemicals which come from the fertilizers humans use on the tobacco plants, which are directly affecting the chemistry in the leaves of these tobacco plants. Another form of smoking is e-cigarettes, which have arisen and affected the younger demographic immensely. These devices are composed of harmful aerosols and nicotine that are being advertised as not harmful, safe for use, which we do not know. The lack of research, because this is a newly used activity, we do not know what is in it. We do not know if these chemicals are causing cancer, which is pretty likely because of its ancestor, cigarettes, which have 70 known carcinogens. So the objective or the purpose of this presentation is to critically analyze the chemicals in cigarette smoke and examine the effects this smoke has on our health. So for this presentation, I hope to look at the chemicals listed below, which are nicotine, acetaldehyde, formaldehyde, amines, 1,3-butadiene, ammonia, acrolein, benzene, tobacco-specific nitrosamines or TSNAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons or PAHs. This is just a small percentage of the chemicals that are in cigarettes and a small percent of the extreme dangers that they are posing on cigarette smokers. On the bottom left, we see a graph, males being red and females being blue, from 12 to 65 years old and older, of the percentages of people smoking cigarettes daily, this being in the Canadian community. On the right, we see a map of the United States, and most states, as you can see, are from 15.9% to 26.4% of the demographic smoking cigarettes daily. Only Canada and here Utah are seen to have about 8.9% to 12.4%, which is still a large percentage of the population. So the importance of this presentation is because cigarette smoking is a harmful activity that thousands of people, as I said before, 480,000 deaths per year in the United States alone are being accredited to smoking cigarettes and the dangers that these pose on our health. 1,400 adults, or about 34.2 million adults in the US alone, are being affected by cigarette exposure and cigarette use from a 2018 study from the CDC. This is not exempting e-cigarettes, which are being advertised, as I said before, as not harmful, but as it's shown, there's an ongoing outbreak of significant lung illness and death, that being 2,051 reported cases and 39 deaths as of November 5th, 2019, due to vaping, which is just the other day. Now we're going to get into the structure and nomenclature of the chemicals in cigarettes. From the chart below, we see that 7,357 are the estimated number of chemical compounds in cigarette smoke, and that 70, as I stated before, are carcinogenic or causing cancer. First, we see N-nitrosamines, which are just nicotine additives as shown on the right graph. And there are large amounts of nitrogen-containing organic compounds that are shown to cause the mutations in the DNA that are being passed down in our genetic codes to our children and our children's children. Benzene is an organic carcinogen formed from forest fires or volcanic eruptions, which are changing the bone marrow, which are allowing people that smoke cigarettes to develop anemia. Amines are carcinogenic compounds that are used for the synthesis of pesticides and plastics and pharmaceuticals. Pesticides and plastics, this causing bladder cancer. Formaldehyde and acetaldehyde are two compounds that are both members of the aldehyde family, formaldehyde being what we see when we dissect animals in our bio classes. Acetaldehyde is the most abundant chemical in tobacco smoke. 1,3-butadiene is a simple hydrocarbonic molecule containing two double bonds, as you can see in the graph below. and it is causing our heart cancer and suspected tartogen, which is the deformation of our embryos. Acronine is unsaturated aldehyde, as you can see from the above formaldehyde and acetaldehyde, and it is a carbon-carbon double bond. It's a toxic compound that causes the dry skin and the dry eyes and the raspy respiratory tract. Polyaromatic hydrocarbons are a group of over 100 different organic chemicals which are carcinogenic, mutagenic, and teratogenic. So they're cancer causing, mutating your genes, and deforming your embryos. So there's much controversy that surrounds this topic. One of the major controversies being surrounded around the new device, the new activity, which is e-cigarettes. And it's very controversial because it is affecting our youth demographic. Many young people, as you can see from the graph below, this is just high school students, or 11 to 18-year-olds approximately, are the ones that are being really affected by these e-cigarettes, which is extremely scary for not only the growing generation, but the generations that will follow. And not only are these people going to start with e-cigarettes, we don't know if they will eventually develop into smoking cigarettes themselves or even worse, drugs. And it's controversial because they're being advertised as not harmful, a substitute for smoking cigarettes, something that is safe, and which that is just simply not the case, especially because these people that are 25-year-old and younger are not having developed brains. So this is directly affecting their brains. They're being exposed to ultrafine particles, flavorants such as diacetyl, volatile organic compounds, and heavy metals such as nickel and tin. We see a spike in the graph from 2017 to 2018, and this is continuously increasing as more and more people are being exposed to the e-cigarette community. How does this relate to my career? Well, I chose this topic because it sheds light on an important topic that people tend to not know or care about. People do not, most cigarette smokers do not know that there's over 7,000 chemicals. I want to do more research on carcinogenic chemicals and figure out exactly what these chemicals are doing to our bodies. I want to know how this is being passed on to our future generations because it is directly mutating our DNA and our genetic code, and our DNA gets passed on to our children. As you can see from the previous slide, it is forming deformations in our embryos, and this will continue to pass down generation for generation. So I hope you learned something about the small fraction of chemicals that we see here in this presentation, and thank you.